Hi, I'm Jim Hall, host of Cult Pop, and we've got another great show in store for you today. First off, we're going to visit Hell, Michigan, a fun place that celebrates Halloween all year round, and with a name like Hell, Michigan, you know it's got to be a fun place to visit. Second off, we're going to visit local artist Audrey Pongracz, who is got some unique art that I have absolutely just fallen in love with. I think the stuff is amazing. Some of it's dark, some of it's funny. Just some really amazing stuff. I think you're going to enjoy her work. And then finally, we're going to visit Susan Goodwill. She's written a new Kate London novel that's a lot of fun. Part mystery, part romance, part comedy, and it's just absolutely a lot of fun. I want to remind you that anytime you want to catch up on any of the Cult Pops, just go to the website, www.cult-pop.com, and you can see all our previous episodes. So stay tuned for Cult Pop. Well, as you can see, I've hit the absolute big time, folks. I've finally made it. I'm a mayor for the day of Hell, Michigan. And I'll tell you, Hell is a wonderful, wonderful place here in Michigan. And oddly enough, I've been told by a lot of friends and family to visit the city. It's odd. I get told quite often, to visit Hell. And I have. And I'm with John Cologne. And John is the proprietor of Hell, Michigan, kind of the de facto mayor when there's not a mayor for the day. You're the president of the Chamber of Commerce.
Whatever it takes.
You just sell hell to everybody. Tell us about Hell, Michigan, and how this wonderful city got started.
One of the things we always say, spend some time in hell while you can enjoy it. We've been around for 160 some years now. We were settled in 1838 by George Reeves and his family. George had 7 daughters, no reason to call it hell. But he did build a mill and a general store on the banks of our river here, and he would grind the local farmers' grain into flour. Well, he also ran a whiskey still, so a lot of times that first 7-10 bushels became whiskey or moonshine, and sometimes horses would come home without riders and wagons without drivers, and somebody would say to the wife, "Well, where's your husband?" And her reply usually was, "Oh, he's gone to hell." So in 1841, when the state came by and asked George what he was going to name his town, he says, "Call it Hell for all I care, everybody else does." So we've officially been Hell since 1841.
Well, it's a wonderful little town, and it's really kind of grown here in the past 10, 15 years. People are starting to know about it, and I wanted to bring it to people's attention to realize that for a lot of you folks watching this show, it's an absolutely wonderful, not even a one-tank trip. You can get out here in less than 45 minutes from most Metro Detroit locations. And Hell has, as you said, a downtown, a midtown, and an uptown.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about the downtown, midtown, and uptown?
Well, uptown we have our post office and Hell Country Store. Everything that is mailed at our post office is burnt and stamped. I've been through Hell. Screams Ice Cream, which is located in Midtown Hell, along with our soon-to-be open Screams miniature golf course. We feature Halloween all year round, as the whole town does. It's a great little theme, a little easier to sell than the devil, and just have a great time doing it. Downtown is the Dam Side Inn, and it was named for that because of it's next to the dam, so you can be able to see that. But
now, John, I know a lot of motorcycle enthusiasts, a lot of family motorcycle enthusiasts come out in the summer, and they're already going to be familiar. Spring through, so from about March till about October, on the weekends, you'll see people enjoying a nice ride. They'll stop at the Dam Site Inn, get themselves a sandwich and a pop, and then continue their tour.
We'll see 60 to 70,000 bikers a year. I think we're probably close to the #1 destination. But what amazes everybody, how everyone gets along. All the families, we see tons of families come in with little kids. You'll see, sitting on motorcycles sometimes, everything else. But it's just been a great, it's hard to describe, though, that everybody just seems to get along and just laugh and giggle, and that's our whole theme of our town. We came up with a motto way back in '71, I think it was. A family from Livonia said, it's a little town on its way up, and that has always stuck. And it's just fun to see everybody. You know what I'd like to mention about this place is that if you plan a trip, if you've never been to Hell, Michigan, the wonderful thing is that you're so close to Metro Parks, you can make a wonderful day out of it. You can come out here, get yourself an ice cream, go inside Screams and look at all the wonderful stuff.
You can go get some mail if you think about it, and mail any type of card. Yeah, mail something, and then it's postmarked from Hell. People really enjoy when they see that. But there's metro parks around here. You're then 5 or 10 minutes away.
We have
from
over
Pinckney and
13,000 acres of state property that surrounds Hell. We have over 66 miles of hiking and biking trails. The Potawatomi Trail is rated by Biker Magazine as one of the top 10 mountain biking trails in the United States. It's just beautiful here. Very close to, like you said, the metro area and things like this. Less than an hour from Detroit, Lansing 45 minutes, and we joke we're 11 miles from 23, 11 miles from 96, and 11 from 94. So it's just a great opportunity.
Well, it's real easy to find and real easy to get out to. Talking about the wonderful family-friendly opportunities, there's also canoe rentals and things like that a family can come and just make a real day of it.
Horseback riding less than a mile from Hell. We have canoe and kayak rentals. You can start at Bruin Lake and end up here in Hell. But it's just a lot of different things, and we really encourage folks to get out and hike and see our beautiful country around here. There's some half-hour trails, some 45-minute trails. You can actually go from Hell to Jackson, a 38-mile trail, which is through different state properties and things, and it's just a beautiful area.
Oh, the hiking and mountain biking trails are second to none around here. Absolutely amazing. Something I wanted to talk about, as we're taping, we're getting ready for the Halloween festivities. As you folks see this, it'll be after Halloween. But I'm the kind of guy that likes to celebrate Halloween year-round. Maybe have a costume party in March or July. And the place to come for that type of celebration, if you're invited to a costume party, just want to spruce your house up with some incredible, scary type stuff, it's the Screams Ice Cream Shop, where it's not just an ice cream shop, but every type of Hell memorabilia, costume you'd need, anything you want to celebrate Halloween, think about it for next year or having an early party, this is the place to come. Tell us about some of the unique items you have in there.
Starting with our ice cream, we specialize in making your own ice cream sundaes, and you'll have to go to our ice cream and folks in costume will dish it all out for you. Then you actually have to go to a coffin that came from Transylvania in 1951 that was actually had a body in it. It was at the funeral home in Howell. We were able to obtain it in about 2000 and put a stainless steel tank in it and things. But that's what we serve our toppings. Unfortunately, fair warning, here in Hell we don't have normal toppings. But you'll have the opportunity to sample ghost poop and butter snot and scaramel, bat droppings. We use eyeballs, worms, toenail clippings. Worst job in the place. Kind of tastes like coconut. But just a lot of great things that kids can put on their toppings, and adults too. We're all kids in Hell. We have a little devil's door. The kids come through there without bending down. It's kind of designed for 3 foot and below. They get free ice cream. You show up any time of the year in costume, you get a free ice cream cone. So it's just a fun place. We really try to push the humor of everything that can be done in Hell.
We're at the beautiful wedding chapel here in Hell, Michigan, and of all things, a wedding chapel, John. Tell us about that.
Well, I think any marriage that starts in Hell has nowhere to go but up, so it's a great opportunity.
Now, haven't you just had recently a few weddings here at the chapel?
We had a couple this past weekend. We have actually 3 scheduled for Halloween Day this year, and we get them all year round.
So there's some adventurous types that think, Hell, Michigan, that's where I want to start my future together.
Absolutely. Well,
it's a beautiful little location. Have you spoken at any of these weddings, John?
We wish them luck. That's as far as my involvement will go. You'll notice the question mark at the top, and we thought that would be a little better than having a cross or any religious symbol. And of course, 50% of the marriages today, end in divorce anyway. So
it's one big question mark.
One big question mark.
Well, another one of the wonderful things about Hell, Michigan. John, we touched very briefly earlier on the putt-putt, but for people wanting to visit who will see this show throughout the year, when they see Cult Pop, they might want to come in the spring of 2008, and they'll be able to play putt-putt, and totally handicap accessible.
It's accessible. Completely meets with the American Disability Act. all 18 holes. I don't think there's another one in the state of Michigan that does that. You'll actually be able to putt through a haunted house and other things like that. But it's just a great family fun thing, and like I said, it's anyone, all ages will be able to play it.
Well, John, I can't tell you enough about what a fun day we've had here with you taking us around and showing us all the great things. And when someone meets you, they can truly say that you've made hell a fun place.
To be.
So, John, a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much.
And
Jim.
we encourage everybody to come out, meet John, come say hi. He's always out and about here in Hell doing stuff, keeping the shops up. And you can even talk to him about being Hell's mayor for the day. So I can't recommend enough a trip to beautiful and scenic Hell, Michigan.
With nerves of steel, with determination and resolve, they go. And the USO will be there until every battle's won and every song is sung, until everyone comes home.
Hi, welcome back to Cult Pop. I'm Jim Hall, and I'm at the beautiful River's Edge Gallery in Wyandotte, Michigan. And I'm fortunate enough to have Audrey Pongracz, a local artist that just recently I've come to get to know about and learn about some of her art, and I'm just already a huge fan. And Audrey, really glad you can be on the show today. As I said, we've been in contact before the show here, and I'm just a huge fan of your work. I think it spans all kinds of from dark to light, fun to sad. It's absolutely amazing stuff. So let's get right into the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Okay, I grew up in Detroit, born and raised. I currently live in Ecorse right now, but I've been painting since I was 13, but I've loved art since I could pick up a pencil, and I've been doing it since.
Wow, amazing. Okay, well, you've got some really interesting stuff in the sense that you do different types of work. You have like a dark collection, you have some lighter stuff, you have some fun stuff, and later on we'll even talk about some clothing and stuff you're doing. But let's get right into it and start talking about some of your favorite pieces and describe them for us.
Okay, I love this series here. It's called The Boy's Kingdom. It's based off my dreams. So pretty much all of this whole collection I have, it's pretty personal. It's really personal. And yeah, I have these dreams where these boys come to me whenever there's a problem that I'm having, and it's kind of like therapy. So these were fun to do.
Audrey, is that where a lot of your inspiration comes from, is dreaming?
Yeah.
And things of that, daydreaming also, or just at night you dream about something and then try to throw it onto canvas? Or?
Yeah, I have pretty powerful dreams that stay with me. I'm pretty obsessed with them. It's kind of a little bit of an obsession, but yeah, they're fun.
I'm curious about something, just going off real quick, but when the art process works, so if you had a dream about something, do you sketch it first? Do you kind of sketch a rough idea of what you want and then work with the oils and stuff after?
Sometimes, yeah. If I see an image that's pretty powerful or a situation that's happened in a dream, then I kind of sketch it out, try to recreate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's pieces on your website, and we're going to have that up throughout the show. And we're currently at River's Edge, and the art here that's for sale, you can go to artattheedge.com and see what's going to be available. Currently, you've got this wonderful show going on, and as I say, as this show starts to air, your show will be done, but a lot of art will be available here. And then there's also wonderful art available at your website, which we'll have up throughout the show. But some of my favorite stuff is some of what I consider kind of darker stuff, and in fact, we've discussed a couple of pieces that I really like. One's The Baker, and that's a series. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that series?
The Darkness series, those popped into my head. Every single one of them kind of just showed up, and I actually had to try to figure them out. So those were pretty fun to do, but they're all based on the dark side to life and rough decisions you have to make, and you know, spirituality and just the dark side to life that you got to deal with.
Well, I think it's really interesting, Audrey, if you go to your website in particular, if you come here and walk around River's Edge and see some of your stuff, you can see some stuff that's very light. For example, right behind you, the Alice in Wonderland piece, or there's other things we've talked about, and then the darker stuff. I like that you go into so many different paths with your art. Let's talk about some of the lighter pieces.
Okay. Well, I light and dark is that's pretty much everything. It really is. I don't like to say too much on the dark side. I'm not, a morbid, dark person, but, there's light and dark to everything, so.
Now, when I met you in the past, you were doing a different program, and you were discussing some things, and the submarine escape right behind us, you were discussing that, and I was really impressed with kind of how you described that and where that came from. Tell me a little, that's one of my favorite pieces of yours, because I think that's really, really
Thanks.
Just deep on a lot of levels and a lot of things going on in there. I think that's a great painting.
Yeah, well, like I said, these are all pretty personal. This is part of the Bleeding Heart series. That's all based on the painful side to love. Mm-hmm. The pain you go through for love. Her in particular, she's in a hysterical state. She's trying to make an escape for the one that she loves, and she's trying to do it in any way that she can. So.
And trying to save him from
just
the possible horrors that might be in the ocean.
These two crows here represent death. Mm-hmm. Or, it doesn't necessarily have to be death, but darkness, and death of the spirit,
Well, what I like is when you step back from this painting, and if you're 5-8 feet back, it looks almost, the hair and things like that look almost 3D.
Oh, that's good.
I think it's really cool. So talk about some more, a couple of the other pieces in the Bleeding Heart series. Why don't you name off some of those pieces, and we'll put those up so people can see them. And then I want to talk about your clothing line.
Okay. This one right behind you is the Beacon. She is taken in fire. She wants to be seen. And the bed of nails represents painful. It's a painful, intimate situation. Yeah, she's really desperate, and she wants to be seen.
When people come into the River's Edge Gallery here and meet you personally, what is the feedback you're getting? What are some of the folks that come in? What do they seem to like the most? What are the paintings that seem to be getting the most
I always get surprised. I didn't know how well these Bleeding Hearts would come off. All these I just did. I didn't really think about it too much. These wanted to be painted, and I painted them. But in particular, the Bleeding Heart series at the show, people really loved those a lot.
Yeah, I think they're very impressive. There's some definite deep stuff going on, and some really cool, visually striking. As soon as you look, when you come in and look at your show, I'm real impressed with it. But before I run out of time, I wanted to touch bases real quick on your clothing line and the different accessories that you deal with. Tell us a little bit about that.
I do, yeah. I do clothing and accessories. Women's. I do want to touch, with the males. I've gotten some, compliments. People want some men's clothing. But I do basically the women's. I'm really into Japanese street fashion. I think it's so unique, and yeah, it's just it's fun. It's fun,
Now, some of the things you've got on display here and are available for sale. You've got purses, some jackets, shirts, things like that. Why don't you just describe a couple of those?
I have a little thing I do with the little rabbit ears. The rabbit is kind of the little icon for my clothing. People seem to really like that. And I do sailor shirts and really cool, funky skirts, and just real fun things.
Okay, well, Audrey, we're just about out of time. Why don't you remind the folks at home of your website and where they can go to learn all about you, about the different paintings, and about your different clothing lines and such.
Okay, my website is www.audreypongracz.com, and I have all the info you need on there.
Yeah, all kinds of great new stuff. Well, Audrey, thank you so much for being on today. Pleasure meeting you, and a pleasure getting the word out about this great art of yours, because I'm a real huge fan. Folks at home, want to tell you that we want to thank River's Edge Gallery. They were so nice in setting us up here today. Jeremy took care of us and got us situated for a wonderful afternoon here, and we certainly thank River's Edge. We want to remind you that Audrey's work is here and so many other wonderful artists. And you just go to artattheedge.com and you can learn about all kinds of wonderful art. They're constantly doing new shows. Every third Friday they have wonderful events here. So I really recommend you go to their website also and learn about other great local and national artists that are housed here. So I want you to stay tuned for more Cult Pop. When we get back, we're going to do some more cool stuff, so stay tuned.
If you're planning a home renovation, you could get tetanus from the bacteria in this. To prevent both tetanus and diphtheria, another serious infectious disease, get the TD booster every 10 years. If it's been 10, do it again.
Hi, welcome back to Cult Pop. I'm Jim Hall, and with me is delightful first-time author Susan Goodwill, author of the fantastic book Brigadoon. Susan, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on a fun, wonderful first-time novel here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a really fun journey. I've always wanted to write my whole life. As a kid, I wrote articles for a magazine that my mother published, as a matter of fact, and all my life I just said, someday I really want to write a novel. And the kind of novel that's always appealed to me has been mystery, and I love humor. And when you mix the two, I think there's such a nice synergy between the tension that you get in a mystery and the break in the tension that you get with humor. It's sort of like a roller coaster, and it gives you this feeling of exhilaration when you're scared by the story, and then by the same token, when you turn around and you can laugh out loud, it's just a great feeling.
Absolutely. Brigadoon, there were so many laugh out loud moments or giggle moments for me.
Thank you.
And I think that's obviously what you're aiming for, but to kind of open the book, there's a funny little story. I don't want to give away too much, but you kind of get some of this on the back portion of the book, so we're not giving away too much. But Kate London, the main star of the book, has a run-in with her fiance. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that run-in that goes quite wrong?
Well, I like to think of this as mystery, humor, and romance gone awry. And Kate is engaged to be married to a man that she sort of thinks she should marry, but he's probably not exactly right for her. And she's never golfed before, but she realizes on the golf course two things. One, that she's not a very good golfer, and two, that her fiance's been cheating on her.
All right. She runs it literally runs right into him almost.
She also learns one more thing, that she can drive a pretty mean golf cart. And she chases him into a porta-john. And she has one of those moments that we've all had where it's like, well, girls have it. What's a girl to do? And she decides what she should do, and she says, the heck with it. And she rams on the gas and hits the porta potty, and everything kind of goes literally and figuratively downhill from there.
Well, so I laughed out loud when he actually walks out. I could picture the way you described it, all in blue and everything, and I got a good laugh.
That was kind of gross, but I had to do it. I mean, I just had to do it.
Now, Kate London is a great spunky lead character for you. She's obviously you've got more novels planned, and in fact, a preview to your next novel is in the back of Brigadoon when you buy that, and that novel's coming out in 2008. So
right, Little Shop of Murders, and I'll plug my third one. I'm working on La Cage of Foul Play right now.
Excellent. What I was going to say is I absolutely Kate's a great protagonist, great lady throughout the book, a lot of laughs, but I think her aunt steals the book to me. Some of the things with that lady, and I compared her off camera with you to locally when we had Bill Kennedy at the movies. Kind of an old B movie star, not maybe a little more than B in some cases, but later on she really kind of finds out that she's got a lot of fans out there. But I loved her. I thought she was a great character.
But she's such a fun character to write. When I first conceived of her, I didn't really have her as the old movie star. I had her voice, and I had her sort of being in Kate's way a lot, things like that. She's a sidekick. She also it gets in her way enough that she makes Kate grow, and that's what I like about her. But then about the second rewrite, I realized that the whole theater thing, that this is who Kitty was. And she was, you know, the kind of movies that Bill Kennedy did, or The Ghoul, or any of those Saturday afternoon horror film type things. Her movies are like Housewives from Outer Space, Attack of the Dung Beetles, you know, and you can sort of track her career going downhill as the names sort of
the titles say it all, don't they?
Yeah, and she's just a real fun character to write, because she's at that certain age that an older lady will get to where she says, oh, the heck with that. I can say whatever I want, I can wear whatever I want, and Kate's still worried about what people think of her. So the two play really nicely off each other. For me, I really enjoyed the dichotomy.
And they kind of jab each other a little bit, specifically the aunt jabs Kate in the way she dresses sometimes, like in the golf situation, things like that. That made me laugh in the golf outfit. But the theater played a big part in this book. Is that part of your background in real life, or did you just want to make it part of the novel?
Well, I was in amateur theater for a while, and the amateur theater that I was in was, I think all amateur theater is a little bit eccentric, and the amateur theater that I was in was no exception. I did about 10 or 15 years' time in amateur theater, so I have a lot of material from that. And the other thing about the old theater in this story and in the series is, one of the things I'm trying to capture is the struggle that we have in towns, for instance, in small town Michigan, between progress and preservation.
Right.
And the old theater is often the heart of a town.
Sure, absolutely.
And in so many towns throughout Michigan and throughout the United States, as we just sort of homogenize everything, we lose that heart. So I wanted the stories to be a little bit about saving the theater and how that sort of saves a town.
Well, yes, there was kind of multiple themes going on. You had the mystery going on, a murder mystery. The theater's threatened with closure and all that kind of stuff. So it was definitely a lot of fun. We're almost running out of time here, Susan, so I do want to remind people of a few things while we're here. First of all, tell folks at home, they've seen it on the screen, but tell folks at home about the website where they can learn all about where you're going to appear, more about your upcoming books, and appearances and all kinds of fun stuff. So tell folks at home the website.
Sure, my website is www.susangoodwill.com. It's very simple. And you can also get to my blog there. And my blog is called Upstage, and you can get to it right through the website. There's a hyperlink to it. I try and talk a little bit about where I'm going to be appearing, but I also talk a little bit about the craft of writing. I do some workshops on writing, and I'll put some nuggets of information on both the blog and the website about that.
It was also neat, you were mentioning, I noticed that the book appears in there's pictures taken where the book's all over the country, and that's something you're kind of promoting, that people read the book, and then if they're on a vacation somewhere or something, is that how that works?
Yeah, I've been having a little contest. A cousin of mine came up with the idea. He was traveling in Ireland, and he took a picture of himself with the book, and he said, your book is everywhere. And so pretty soon we had a lot of pictures of people all around the country with the book and around the world. And they can win prizes if they send me pictures on the blog.
Well, I think that's one of the more creative ways to advertise a book that I'm really impressed with that. That's a neat thing.
Yeah, it's sort of fun.
And then to close up, I know folks are going to pick this book up and absolutely love it. And then the great thing is, in the back, there's about a 10-15 page preview of the next Kate London novel. That's coming out in, is it March or April of 2008?
Yeah, late February, early March of 2008.
Okay, and what's the title of that one more
Little
time?
Shop of Murders. And in each of these, they're doing a play on a play. So this would be Little Shop of Horrors they're doing, and it turned into Little Shop of Murders.
Well, Susan, your Brigadoon is absolutely just a delightful novel. It's different than some of the things I've featured before, more hardcore and all that kind of stuff. So it was a delightful turn for me to actually be able to read something, laugh out loud, smirk sometimes, and it was an absolute delight. And I think Kate London is going to be a character that hopefully you'll be able to continue for years to come, because I think readers are really going to enjoy her.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
And thanks for having me.
You're quite welcome. We enjoyed it. Well, that wraps up Cult Pop. Folks, I hope you had as good a time as I did. Hell, Michigan is one of the most unique places in Michigan, so make that a plan for next spring or summer. A great place to visit, and of course around Halloween time you can't beat it. Audrey Pongracz is one of the upcoming young artists here in Michigan, so I hope you check her out. And Susan Goodwill, her novel, hey, she said it all. What a great, fun novel. So we invite you always to visit the website, www.cult-pop.com, and you can learn re-see the show or view all of our past shows. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.